Welcome, everyone. We are talking about a very important subject, plants, wholeness, and support. Here with us is someone who knows a lot about plants, Miss Ingrid Schafer. I would let her introduce herself and talk to you about her relationship with plants. Ingrid.
Hi, I'm
Hi,
Ingrid. Hi. I live in the Netherlands, and the the herbal medicine, the phytotherapy, it has been a part of my, or actually a large part of my education. And well, we come to that later. What I will call my relationship with plants that I have developed. So for now, I think this is enough because I also introduced myself more widely in the previous hangouts about the wholesome approach of health. So everyone can look at that as well. And today we're going to talk about the plants. I think that's it, June.
Thank you, Ingrid. So let's look at what a plant is, because I would like to look at the definition of a plant. And then maybe later on in this hangout or in the next hangout, we can look at the definition or the expansion of this definition. I know that a plant grows from the ground. So what is your definition of a plant?
For me, it is actually a very short definition. The first thing that comes up within me is that a plant is a living organism. And that are we as humans as well. We are a living organism. And well, everything that is living on this earth here, as well as the plants that we are talking about today, are living organisms. So we have this life essence within each one of us, and we express that in a very different way. So plants do have a very different expression of themselves as human beings, for example, or as animals, or as the ground, or as the insects. But we all have that same life essence within ourselves. So yeah, we are all living organisms, and we all have equally that life essence within ourselves, and that's what we often forget about everything here on earth living. So that's for me a very important thing. And even when for example I'm aware of it, that it is a living organism, then it's not so easy to how to approach a plant, because we do eat the plants. We cannot everywhere let them grow as they grow, so you pull them out sometimes and we step on them and then they die. So that's not such an easy subject if we really look at that, how to approach the plant. But what is clear to me within this is that the starting point of how we approach each other and also the plants, that is first thing that is important, so that we approach also the plants as an equal living organism here on earth. So it deserves respect and support and possibilities to express themselves in their utmost potential. And at the moment they are very suppressed, as how all life is actually very suppressed at the moment here on Earth, actually destroyed almost. So, well, I think that's what we should start with the starting point of how we should approach the life essence in all the living organism. And from there, we can then look, okay, how do we treat the plants? Where can they grow? Where can they not grow? How can we support them? How can they support us? But we have to do it from that ego starting point, from my perspective.
I agree, because if it is a living organism, which it is, and we are a living organism, then why are we not treated as equals in terms of print media, and the way we treat plants? So I'm faced with this fact that it can be because of the one point, which is the plants are not moving, are seemingly not moving like humans. What do you reckon? What's your perspective on that? Because for me, the fact that they are seemingly not moving is not enough reason for us to not to give them an equal status with other living beings like animals and humans.
I'm not completely understand your question, but I see that what you say, that they are not moving, of course, seemingly. So their physical is not is in one place. I think that makes them vulnerable for that case, because they cannot move to protect themselves, but they can. But they have different ways of strengthen themselves, as they. That's also what we can say is moving, because of the stories that plants can communicate, for example, with each other all around the world or in different places. So in that case, it is a bit of moving. So they're not seeing themselves as one separate plant that has to take care of itself, but more that the plant is an organism as a whole that is taking care of that organism as a whole. So it doesn't not so much matter if that one plant is surviving, but more how they can survive the best possible way in certain circumstances all together as an organism. So that is also moving from my perspective, and really an aspect that we can learn from as human beings, because we are very much protecting our own personal interests only, and in that we forget about human beings as an organism as a whole, and the whole living organisms like Earth as a whole. We forget, of course, also within that. So we are actually as human more moving, but that gives also the possibility to run away a lot. And that is not such a good thing, as we can see. So I think that what makes the plants vulnerable, that they cannot run away, is also their strengths, as they are taking care of themselves as a living organism as much as they can, and not as themselves.
Yeah.
That is one perspective of, that I see within.
I do understand what you're saying. I can see that their roots actually move, but we don't see it because it's sourcing nourishment from the soil. And in that way, they are moving, really. They grow.
Inside, yes.
And from a seed, they become a plant. Yet human beings grow taller, and we say, yeah, they're growing, you know. Yet with plants, oh, because um, our sense of movement with regards to us growing, it's not the movement that we really think it is. It is to us growth in terms of increasing your height, for example, when you become an adult from a young kid becoming an adult. But with plants, we can say that that's also movement. What do you say?
Well, maybe because what do you define as movement for human beings? You mean growth? Because I was talking about movement that we can move from place A to place B.
Yeah, that seems to be our definition of movement.
So it's different definitions, yes.
Yes. So we have to really look at this definition, movement. What about if for now we equalize our definition and say breathing is in fact movement? I've just lost of a definition, and I can see that breathing itself is movement, isn't it?
Within
And,
itself, yeah.
and respiration is um, common among plants and animals. So that then we can say for now that in that way we are equal and we are all here in this planet. So we have to assist each other. So then comes the question, how do plants assist us when we're sick? Let's say, for example, with regards to your experience as a person who studied health. I know you mentioned something like herbal, you know, you can classify plants according to herbs, and then, of course, you can look at essential oils, and plants are also used for food. So maybe you can enlighten us a little bit on that.
Yes, because plants are assisting us in so many ways, of course, because without the plants, we would not be alive here on Earth. So that is the first thing that they assist the life on Earth with, as well for the oxygen, as well for the food, of course. But when we talk about more the healthcare, then you have many different plants that can be of support for different body parts, different body organs. So if there is a dysfunction or disbalance, then there are a lot of plants that are supporting in that. It's too much to expand on that, of course, but that's actually what is the basic foundation of medicine as a whole. Before the synthetic medicines are are brought into existence, are created, and so actually it's a very old way of physical support for the body of human beings and also of animals, actually. And then, as you mentioned, you have the essential oils. That's different parts of the plant that is used, and that then again can be used as different kind of support for human beings that I have less experience with. And you have, for example, the flower remedies, where not the molecules of the plants are anymore be found in the medicines, but it becomes more only the resonance of the plant that is into the water, brought into the water. So that gives, again, another, a different support for human beings on a different level or area for human beings. And here again, what is important again when using this is, I think, again, the starting point of from where we use the plant support for the healthcare of human beings, for example, because how can I say? Actually, the starting point of what we take a plant for, or a medicine in general, is determining how much support the plant can give us. So how much do we allow the plant to support us, and then take that support within ourselves to heal ourselves, actually. So let me see if I can have an example for that. Let's say we have that's in herbal medicine, there are a lot of plants that are support of the liver function or the gallbladder function. That are the bitter herbs that you talked about also before the hangout. And we can use that to only support when our gallbladder doesn't give enough gall fluid anymore. Do I say that right? I'm not sure in English. I think it's clear. Gall fluid anymore. So we can support that with the herbs to produce more of that fluid. But then what we can also look at is, okay, why was that stagnated within ourselves? So what is the more source point of why the liver could not function at its utmost potential anymore? So if we combine that two areas together, so we use the plant for our body to support it and to support our body function again, that is not being able to do it on its own. But if we at the same time looked within ourselves and see, okay, what mind patterns within ourselves are giving trouble with in our own physical body to, for example, give the right movement for our liver function and our gallbladder, then we take 2 points together where you have with the support of the herb and then our own self-support, actually, to direct ourselves within that certain mind aspect that is given a physical problem, then it is quantifying the process of what the plant support can do on its own. So that is a bit what I mean, that how we use the plant, the starting point in it will also determine how much the plant will do for us. So it's not so that the plant on its own is not having any result, because it has the physical result. It has certain substances that is having physical sometimes it's difficult in English, that has that gives physical functions support. So that's clear, that is investigated, that is on papers, that is clear. So it's not that it's placebo or something like that. That's not what I mean at all. But if we only support the body with the plants and we are not looking within ourselves what mind aspect, for example, is also having an influence on that body part, then you support the body, but later on we will develop the same symptom again. And then again, if we do not support the body, but we only work within our mind aspects, but we do not support the body to also come with us in its functions, then it's very hard for ourselves to also walk through that mind point, for example, because the body is then working against us because we first developed a physical symptom that is not of support of ourselves anymore. So we have to support the physical as well as our mind, actually. And that is the point of self-direction that we have to take within it. And then the herbal medicine, the flower remedies, the homeopathic, the food, everything can be of so much support for ourselves, for our physical body within this process. That's actually how I see plant support.
You're right.
I hope it's clear a bit.
Subject right there, Ingrid. Make it simpler. I guess it is a matter of pointing out the relationship between the body and the mind, and that we can take physical substances that can help ailments on our physical body, but eventually we will have to deal with our state of mind also, because whatever emotions or feelings we embody, the body is affected by it. The body is it. That's why it's called embodying emotions, is because it gets within our body. We can feel the stress, we act it out, you see. So we, for example, take flower remedies, but then if we don't stop the cause of it, all these other remedies, like herbal remedies and flower essences, they won't work, because if we are not going to stop ourselves, we are going to create more and more layers for ourselves. For example, like when I had cancer, I could have taken different kinds of herbal remedies, but if I did not look at the fact that I suppressed myself when I was a child, the fact that I had been using food to make myself feel good rather than using food for nourishment. If I did not face all that, even if I have the best doctor giving me the best remedy, both for my emotions and my physical health, it wouldn't really work, because I myself don't want to stop whatever it is that is causing all this. So that's how I look at what you said, Ingrid, in a nutshell, in a very simplistic way. And right now I'm looking at, okay, if plant is supporting us, how can we support plants? How do we, of course, it's also a big subject, because permaculture itself is a big subject. But let's talk about, for me, I wouldn't make support for plants as big as permaculture, but rather for this particular hangout, I would like to narrow it down to, and then maybe in the next hangout we can talk about permaculture and how we really take care of plants. But to treat this as an equal, to treat plants as an equal, in terms, even in terms of food. And that's a huge subject also, Ingrid. So, what's your perspective in how we can practically treat plants as an equal?
Yeah, I agree with you that it's again the starting point of treat it as an eagle, as a living organism. How we can practical support it, that is so different in every situation actually. And like you say, the permaculture is so much more specified in that, and I am not actually in that as specified as how they practically support the plants. So for that we need to combine all the know-how that is already here on Earth, how to really support plants, because we have the permaculture, we have the biological, the organic approach of plants and foods, and the dynamic biological, or this dynamic organic approach. And there is so much already investigated and applied, but not on a very wide scale, not wide enough. So I would say it's actually already here, a lot of how we can treat and approach the plant as an eagle, but it's not applied as a whole, actually, not applied on large scale, on world scale. So then we bump onto the larger problem, of course, that that we also touched a bit on the first hangout. Why isn't it applied and implemented already? All the know-how that is here. So that is maybe not for now, for this hangout to expand on, but it's what is coming back every time. It's actually the starting point of seeing all living organisms as an eagle and also treating them that way. And then we can use everything that is already here, and there are much more solutions coming up then, I'm pretty sure of how we can treat the plants as an eagle, because it's in every situation is different. Because can we say, okay, we eat the plant, do we then treat them as an eagle because we eat them, they don't eat us? So it's you know, then you have all that kind of discussions, but that's not really the issue. It's more the starting point of what a living organism is and what each living organism can bring in. And then if we approach that with respect of what it is and then use it and support it of what it is, then yeah, that will determine the outcome actually.
Right. Also, I would like to point out that we need money.
We need
to be able to money.
Yes.
To be able to do whatever we need to do to assist and support plants. And that we cannot say it's not very important, because in our last hangout, we found out that it is money that we need to assist animals. Remember that part? To assist animals to be able to be healthy. And then now I can see with what you're saying regards to organic farming and stuff like that, we need really money to be able to do this. And the reason why farmers are not very much into this in a larger scale is because they are looking at profit. So it boils down to money, really. What do you reckon, Ingrid? I mean, what's your perspective on this money point, Ingrid?
Yes, we do need money. And then again, in that, because it's not like the money isn't available or isn't existing in the world. So that is again not really the problem. But we do not use the money from that starting point of equality. So the money isn't used as support. And well, we have to first create solutions for that before, and that starts, of course, in every human being to approach all living organisms as equals. And I think if we ask a lot of how we approach plants, then they are not considered, for example. So we in ourselves have also a long way to walk before, or quite some process to walk, we can say, before we can all have that approach of equality towards each other as living organism. And then the money will and can be created accordingly to that. So yes, we need money for sure, but it's up to us how we are going to direct it. And because we have created very unequal in the world at the moment, we cannot say, okay, we just turn around everything today and tomorrow it's fixed, because that's not how it works because we have manifested the inequality and the ignorance of the living organisms. So we have to walk it back now and first actually see and realize and understand how we did that, and from there walk it back and see how we can do it different, and who each of us is within that. So it's very complicated actually.
And to keep it simple, Ingrid, I would like to mention that money as notes come from cotton, silk, etc., which is, and they are made out of plants, Ingrid. You know, money itself, for example, the $1, it comes from plants because parts of it is made out of cotton, silk, and other fibers, and the metals come from the ground. So, as you can see, we should use it according to that fact that we all come from that point of, we all come from the planet. I mean, the food we eat comes from the planet. Then the poop goes back to the planet. You know, we exchange money, and it's made out of plants.
Yes.
So you can see that we have to really embrace wholeness here.
Yes.
And there's a lot to talk about, Ingrid, but we have touched on some very important points that we would like to explore further later on when we have time. So thank you for being here, Ingrid. It's actually about 2 a.m. right now in LA. I'm visiting my mom here. And it's really an expansive thing to just talk about equality and plants and equality in animals, equality in money. So you see, for me, it might be 2 a.m. here, and I'm really sleepy. But you know what? I can talk to you about this for another hour or two. But to stop me from doing that, I would just look at the practicality of sleeping right now. And thank you so much, Ingrid. I really appreciate you talking to me in a way that we can both expand. And the subject of our conversation itself being expansive, it's like, wow, I didn't realize that you can talk about plants this way. Plants is usually permaculture and this and that, but the way that we opened it up just expanded the subject even more. And I would like to talk more in the next hangout if you're available, and for other guests who would like to be here. So thank you all for watching. Ingrid, you have any last statement for us? Thank you for being here. Yeah.
I found what you said a very cool point to consider, as that the money is made out of plants, because that's actually explaining everything. And yeah, we should really realize that, and it's a point of humbleness to realize that.
Right. It is
really, it's yes.
So it's like we're talking about what is backing up money. It's not that first. The first thing we have to talk about is what money is made of. Then, okay, we can look at what's backing it up. But that's a little bit illogical if we would skip this point, which is really here in front of us. So thank you for meeting me right here as an equal. And I'll see you soon, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.